Thanks, Joachim Meyer, for giving us armored fencing. But what is that? In 2021, Olivier Dupois discovered another manuscript by Joachim Meyer. Fans of our Strasbourg companion all over the world got all hot in their multicolored puffy pants. And rejoice! Something new was added to the Meyer canon, a treatise about armored fencing. Thanks to Frank Walter from Würzburg, shown here giving some insight into sickle fencing, the text was quickly transcribed so we can all look it up at Wichtenauer. But wait, there's more! We even have some pictures, and boy, they are beautiful to look at. Especially the left one gives us certain vibes. It also reminds us of the I Am Knauf hoodies from Barbenheimer. I love it. Anywho, focus. Ah, yes, the sword. Let's take a closer look at the manuscript. Meyer gives us general information about the setting before he begins to talk about the weapon and finally how to use it. In his words, he wants to describe 3 artificial weapons that are optimal for armored fencing. So he basically developed these weapons based on what he read and what he has seen so far. Wow. So the sword. Above the pommel, it should have 4 tags next to the 5th at the top. They shouldn't be long, rather short, so that it can cause harm in an emergency. We can see this part in this picture well. What does this remind us of? Ah yes, the maze. Pure blunt force trauma. So basically, this part is about murder strokes of all sorts to various parts of the armor. He also tells us that the cross should be like a mason's hammer, the point and blade angular, and that should all be cast from solid iron, and the point should be steeled. Ah yes, the Warhammer. Being available in a short version, the sword version resembles more a bec du corbin, a crow's beak, we also know from other treatises. This weapon is also very popular against armor, especially in the 15th century. A whole treatise is dedicated on how to use this weapon in armored fencing, the Jeu de la Hache. In this dedicated video, you can see an interpretation on how to use it. So this part of the weapon is mainly used for hammering into the opponent and also for hooking. The next part is not described in the text, but you can see it in the drawing. There is a small round circular metal disc in the top part of the blade. My take is that it is there to protect your hand from thrusts into your gauntlet. When wearing gauntlets, the fingers and the back of your hand are well protected, but not so much against thrusts from below or above into your hand. This is the reason why in the armored fencing section of the Peter von Danzig manuscript, we are specifically told to thrust into this gap. You can see in the drawing from Meyer's manuscript that the lower part of the hand is well protected. Interesting enough, this is the exact way a Tsuba in Japanese-style swords also perfectly cover the opening in the respective battlefield armor. Now a short break for the algorithm god. If you like my work and don't want to miss anything new, feel free to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Meyer also talks about the length, that it should also be made finely supple so that one may fully choose the length at his pleasure. So you can choose the length to whatever you please. It can be 120 centimeters, 150 centimeters, or Sephiroth. Given that Meyer's drawings are often exact, we can see that the sword used in the drawing is about the length of a sword that Meyer also uses in his sword section, but this is only speculation. From folio 105V onwards, he describes how to use the weapon. He specifically says that on the onset that first, we need to weaken the opponent with thunderbolts, meaning the murder strokes. He summarizes in folio 110V why we should do this. The goal is to sever his armor with a pickaxe or hew to the knee, bend or gaps, and disable with a pommel and break and beat the joint. Of course, armor has gone a long way through the ages. As we can see in the drawing, people are now fully enclosed in steel plates, having basically no openings to begin with. If you compare this to earlier versions of armored fencing depicted, for example, by Talhofer, you can clearly see the difference. So it makes sense to deliver blows to break the armor by either deforming it with blows or damaging the straps that hold it in place. You need to open that can of tuna before you can stab into the tasty part. Once we have done that, he gives us various techniques about pinning the opponent in the gaps with the tip of the sword or wrestling him down. There are many more interesting things to discover in this fairly new treatise. For example, Meyer talks about stuffing dirt or parts of the coat of arms into the visor of the opponent once he's taken down. Dual wielding the combat saber and the sword deserves also honorable mentions, let alone the fact and concept of a combat saber itself. Let me know in the comments if you want to know more about these weapons, and feel free to take a look at the treatise itself. I'll link it in the description. I hope you enjoyed this little journey into Meyer's armored fencing. Until next time, and as always, thanks for watching.